And I felt, you're losing people every single time you have those headlines. We all get that there's a really big urgent message.
Please subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it truly means so much to me. A royal bombshell just rocked Buckingham Palace, and insiders say nobody saw this coming. Prince William has reportedly confirmed heartbreaking news that could seriously shake up Meghan Markle's future, sparking whispers of tension, strategy, and serious power moves behind palace walls. Legal pressure, brand distancing, and what looks like a carefully measured royal response are already sending shockwaves across the globe. But what exactly did the future king discover? And how could this bold action shift the monarchy's influence and affect Catherine's protection in the long run? The discovery reportedly happened at dawn. At exactly 5 in the morning, long before the sun touched the Norfolk countryside, Prince William was sitting alone in the kitchen at Anmer Hall. The house was silent, broken only by the low hum of the refrigerator and the steady ticking of a clock. Outside, the sky was still dark. Inside, bright light spilled across the wooden table where his morning briefing was laid out. This was not routine reading. The report in front of him wasn't just press gossip or random headlines. It was described as a detailed investigation, carefully compiled and cross-checked. Page after page outlined what investigators believed was an organized online campaign targeting Catherine, Princess of Wales. The findings reportedly traced coordinated attacks not to random social media users, but to structured online networks based in the United States. What raised eyebrows even more was the alleged financial pattern. Shell companies, layered donations, and anonymous funding channels that investigators claimed were linked back to Montecito, California. The picture painted in that report was serious. According to sources, this wasn't seen as casual criticism or ordinary public debate. It was described as a strategic effort to damage Catherine's public image and, by extension, create pressure around the monarchy itself. William is said to have studied every detail closely, scanning names and connections, fully aware that whatever came next could have lasting consequences.
Her former title, Her Royal Highness, despite the fact that she and Harry stepped away from their royal roles.
Breaking today, Prince William doubles down. According to multiple sources, it's now a matter of when, not if, he strips Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their royal titles.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are going to have no role when Prince William becomes king, and he's already planning this out, and it's really not so much that he said they are not going to have roles.
What about Meghan and Harry? Because there are reports that Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and their children could be set to lose their royal titles if and when Prince William becomes monarch.
You're absolutely right. I think Meghan Markle has been very brazen recently with the use of the HRH.
Your titles are gone. You're going to be Meghan Mountbatten-Windsor. Your husband's going to be Harry Mountbatten-Windsor. And all your threats of legal action, I think, is something that William will quite rightly stare down. The king might think that this is something he can do, but of course, he no longer officially controls Highgrove. Prince William does. And this was never going to fly.
Prince William will strip Prince Andrew along with all other non-working royals of their HRHs and princely titles when he ascends to the throne. Meghan and Harry, I just had this conversation about Harry and Meghan. I think I was talking to Fox News, and I said, they might not think the rules apply to them, but they are insisting on using titles from the British royal family. And when you do that, whether you like it or not, you are representing the monarchy, and there are some rules that you have to abide by.
The agreement that was made did not remove the title. It restricted the way it was to be used. It was not to be used publicly.
For Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to have their titles stripped, as well as
Prince William plans on stripping both Harry and Meghan of their HRH titles once he becomes king.
IP addresses, timestamps, financial transfers. Every single line in that report pointed to planning and precision. Each digital trace told a story of strategy, not randomness. Within minutes, the weight of it all hit William hard. This was not some petty online drama that could be brushed aside. The campaign was structured, funded, and intentional. The deeper he read, the clearer it became that the fallout would not be small. This had the potential to shake the royal family from the inside out. Public trust, private relationships, global perception, all of it could take a hit that might never fully heal. And as the details sank in, a cold, controlled anger rose in him. Not reckless rage, focused fury, the kind that comes from loyalty mixed with duty. His thoughts went straight to Catherine. She was recovering, rebuilding her strength after chemotherapy, trying to carefully return to public life while facing a storm of calculated cruelty online. That reality cut deep. This was not healthy debate, not media scrutiny. This was a deliberate digital strike aimed at someone during a vulnerable chapter of her life. Sitting there in that quiet kitchen, William reached a turning point. Staying silent was no longer an option. The old royal rule, never complain, never explain, suddenly felt outdated in the face of something this coordinated. This was bigger than headlines, bigger than trending topics. This was about protecting his wife and defending the stability of the institution they represent. And protection meant action. By the time the first light of dawn crept over the Sandringham estate, his decision was locked in. The dossier had exposed more than online hostility. It mapped out structure, funding channels, and a network operating with intent. That changed everything. Protecting Catherine now meant confronting the architects behind the operation directly.
Harry and Meghan to leave royal duties. It was agreed with Queen Elizabeth that they will not use the HRH title. That is a long-standing precedent, and there's good reason for it. Basically, the HRH is only given to working royals and senior members of the royal family because it denotes a level of I guess, respect in the public, and also it's not a financial thing. Working royals do not profit. They do not use their names to make money. It's an honour to have an HRH.
Absolutely.
So the fact that she's continued to use this HRH when they've been instructed not to, I think is absolutely infuriating in Buckingham Palace. And there was a very interesting source inside, close to the Prince of Wales, who spoke to the Daily Beast. He said that William is furious, unsurprisingly, and he's also already formulating plans to deal with this when he becomes monarch. I think that he feels that King Charles...
The era of simply enduring quietly was over. William had received intelligence pointing to a coordinated online campaign allegedly tied to a US-based network. The question was no longer whether it existed. The question was how he would respond. Would he dismiss it as digital noise? Or would the seriousness of the findings demand a bold countermove? Please subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it truly means so much to me. Before sunrise even touched the Norfolk skies, Prince William had chosen his path. There was no hesitation, no waiting for committee approval. The briefing made one truth painfully clear. Decisive action was necessary, and it would be strategic, calculated, and impossible to undo. William delivered one cold command: execute the protection protocol. Those words weren't dramatic for show. They triggered a coordinated response built to shield his wife and protect the crown. First, the Sussex were formally pushed out of the royal inner circle. Invitations to state events, official engagements, and private gatherings were cut off. Any expectation of automatic access to royal spaces was gone. The message was sharp. Proximity to the monarchy was no longer guaranteed. Then came the legal and digital lockdown. A firm barrier was placed between the institution and Montecito. Any use of royal titles, connections, or prestige for commercial gain would now face immediate legal resistance. The strategy was simple: stop narrative damage, block unauthorized leaks, and prevent Catherine from being targeted through indirect channels.
Harry and Meghan as possible. And that's certainly a possibility. I mean, if I were them, I would grow up and I'd think, oh my God, like, you stole the opportunity for me to live history. You stole the opportunity for me to meet and spend time with the greatest monarch that has ever lived in Queen Elizabeth II. It's certainly possible. But look, William has absolutely no intention of allowing Archie and Lilibet back into the fold. At the moment, based on where his head is at, all of their HRH titles will be stripped. So Harry will lose his HRH, Meghan will lose his HRH, Archie will lose the HRH, Lily will lose the HRH. And the reason that will be given is that he wants to slim down the monarchy. But really, this is a lot about personal vengeance.
The financial side followed fast. Partnerships and brand associations connected to royal access were frozen. William understood modern influence runs on money as much as status. Removing that access weakened the ability to monetize royal ties. The signal was unmistakable. Profit and privilege would no longer mix without consequences. At the same time, major US media companies reportedly received private legal warnings. Broadcasting unverified claims or amplifying coordinated harassment would carry serious risks. This was not emotional retaliation. It was calculated positioning. A line had been drawn. Reconciliation efforts were shelved. Quiet diplomacy gave way to strategic distance. Socially, legally, and symbolically, separation became official. This move wasn't framed as revenge. It was framed as protection. William's stance made one priority clear: the safety and dignity of the Princess of Wales came first. Anyone threatening that would face immediate pushback. Behind all of this was Catherine's reality. She had just come through an exhausting period of chemotherapy, battling fatigue, nausea, and uncertainty. While she fought privately for her health, online hostility intensified. That contrast, recovery versus cruelty, became the breaking point. The dawn had barely risen, but the monarchy's internal lines had already shifted. Behind the quiet walls of Anmer Hall, the online world was turning vicious. Coordinated waves of attacks, powered by bot accounts and conspiracy clips on TikTok and other platforms, began flooding timelines. This wasn't casual criticism. It looked organized, repetitive, and relentless. Posts mocking Catherine's health, questioning her dedication, twisting her recovery into gossip content. To outsiders, she appeared calm and steady, easing back into royal duties. But William saw what cameras didn't. He saw the exhaustion, the physical toll, the mental strain of fighting illness while being dissected online. One gray Norfolk morning, he walked into a room and found Catherine sitting silently by the window, tablet in her hands. She wasn't crying. She wasn't angry, just still. Then she asked quietly, "Why do they hate me for surviving?" That question hit harder than any headline. For years, the monarchy lived by never complain, never explain. Silence was meant to signal strength, but now that silence felt like exposure, what once protected dignity now seemed to leave her unguarded in a digital arena that never sleeps. William reached a breaking point.
Danish monarch Queen Margrethe II is stripping 4 of her grandchildren of their prince and princess titles. The Danish monarch has changed her grandchildren's titles.
Watching someone you love battle illness is hard enough. Watching them face organized cruelty at the same time, that's different. This didn't look random. It felt calculated. Ignoring it would no longer be restraint. It would feel like abandonment. He decided protection had to be active, not symbolic. Legal review, strategic communication, digital monitoring, coordinated response. This wasn't just about reputation. It was about safeguarding her peace while she healed. Catherine was still recovering physically and emotionally. That context mattered. William believed shielding her wasn't dramatic. It was necessary. But another question lingered. What would King Charles think? The next step reportedly unfolded at Wood Farm. The morning air was still as William carried the dossier into his father's study. The weight of the report felt heavier than paper. It outlined what analysts described as a synchronized digital surge that erupted after Catherine announced her gradual return. According to the findings, thousands of automated or coordinated accounts began posting near identical messages within minutes. The volume created the appearance of massive hostility. The strategy wasn't loud chaos, it was structured amplification. The report also mapped a financial trail investigators claimed linked funding through layered entities, eventually pointing toward donors based in Montecito, California. The implication wasn't emotional, it was structural. Money, coordination, and timing lined up in ways that raised serious concern. William laid the dossier on the desk as King Charles adjusted his glasses. The explanation was steady, controlled, but urgent. This wasn't framed as family drama, it was framed as institutional risk. If coordinated manipulation could shape public perception at scale, then the monarchy itself was vulnerable.
We've been lucky enough to meet some of our country's amazing charities and organizations.
This wasn't about headlines anymore. It was about whether the crown would respond to digital warfare with modern defenses or continue relying on tradition in a landscape that had completely changed. The dossier revealed a striking level of coordination. Posts, bot accounts, and comment surges appeared timed to align with Catherine's public appearances, statements, and even minor engagements. This wasn't random noise online. It looked structured and synchronized. King Charles leaned back as the details were explained. The issue no longer resembled a private disagreement. It pointed to what advisors described as organized digital manipulation targeting not just Catherine personally, but the monarchy's broader image. The conclusion inside that room was clear. Ignoring it could risk normalizing coordinated attacks. Silence, once a symbol of restraint, now carried different consequences. Protecting Catherine and protecting the institution were viewed as connected responsibilities. For a moment, the only sounds were papers shifting and distant birds outside Wood Farm. Then Charles responded calmly but firmly. If the evidence suggested structured interference, it required a structured response. This was no ordinary media storm. Strategy and clarity would be essential. William's position was direct. If manipulation was shaping public perception at scale, then defending his wife's reputation also meant defending institutional credibility. Both men reportedly agreed. The traditional approach of quiet endurance would need updating in a digital era that moves fast and amplifies faster.
Oh no, it will be active. It won't just be, I'm ignoring this. It will be, your titles are stripped, you are gone, you are banished. He doesn't even want Harry at his coronation. I mean, that is extraordinary. That shows you how far things have fallen. I don't think there is a way back. I really don't. I guess you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Will a divorce change things? Maybe. But remember, Prince William set Harry these very, very clear red lines, and he crossed every single one of them. And the one for him, Link, that was so personal.
But questions soon shifted elsewhere. Attention turned to Meghan Markle following the release of her Netflix holiday special, With Love, Meghan. The episode aired the same day. King Charles and Queen Camilla hosted a German state visit, and hours after Princess Catherine shared a personal letter connected to her annual carol service. The timing sparked online discussion, though no official connection was suggested. On screen, the tone was festive and relaxed. Meghan appeared in bright red holiday pajamas alongside close friends, decorating, crafting, and sharing seasonal moments meant to feel warm and intimate. However, one exchange caught viewers' attention. During a wreath-making segment, her friend Lindsay Jill Roth asked casually, "Aren't bows in right now?" Meghan responded lightly, "That's what you told me." The comment was brief, but online commentators quickly dissected it. Some interpreted it as playful banter. Others speculated it carried subtle commentary, given how closely Princess Catherine's fashion choices are often analyzed.
Just about happy, healthy children. This is about the society I hope we could and can become.
Roth added, "I like how loose yours is. That looks great." Meghan replied, "Well, it's just the beginning." The tone remained cheerful. Still, social media reactions varied widely. To some viewers, it was harmless holiday chatter. To others, it felt layered. In a climate already sensitive to timing and symbolism, even small moments can spark bigger conversations. At first glance, the exchange looked harmless, just friends laughing over holiday crafts. But in the intense world of royal attention, nothing stays small. Every word, every smile, every side comment gets analyzed. Meghan's response could be read in different ways: playful, confident, maybe even a subtle reminder that she still holds influence in the spotlight. Context made it louder. While King Charles and Queen Camilla were hosting foreign dignitaries and Catherine was focused on a traditional charitable event, Meghan appeared relaxed and camera-ready in bright red holiday pajamas. The contrast was sharp. Formal state duty on one side, casual streaming celebration on the other. The humor felt effortless, the tone light. But in a climate where timing is everything, the overlap sparked conversation. Some viewers saw nothing more than festive fun. Others believed it carried layered meaning. In royal media culture, even tone can become headline material. To critics, the moment felt strategic. To supporters, it was simply personality. But either way, it reinforced one truth: perception shapes narrative. Inside palace circles, discussion reportedly shifted from interpretation to strategy. Before sunrise in Norfolk, senior royals gathered at Wood Farm. Prince William, King Charles, Queen Camilla, and Princess Anne met in the long library, a room more used to history than crisis. On the table sat the dossier, outlining what investigators described as coordinated digital attacks targeting Catherine. The atmosphere was serious, not theatrical. Pages detailed patterns of online amplification, financial pathways.
I really do feel it will happen, and I think it's important to note that it won't be a revenge play by William. It's very much a reforming play, because when he is King William V, when his father passes on, he's the monarch, he's more aware than anyone, I think, that the monarchy and the royal family have to provide value to the taxpayer and also the Commonwealth as well. That it's not, we don't just keep the royal family because we've always had the royal family. They very much have to prove their worth, and he wants to really push aside anyone who's been freeloading or using their titles for commercial gain. And we know the late Queen had said to Meghan, forbade her from using the HRH title. And of course, Meghan's just blithely got ahead and done that and tried to commercialise it wherever she can. But it's a reform play by William. I think he just wants to keep it a very tight monarchy, but also he wants to reward the people who do actually do the work and do it quietly without any fanfare. Princess Anne is a perfect example of that.
And structured messaging networks allegedly tied to US-based sources. Whether viewed as aggressive digital campaigning or orchestrated harassment, the report framed it as institutional risk. The conversation was controlled and focused. There would be no emotional press conference, no dramatic public back and forth. The approach discussed was measured. Tighten access, review commercial ties, monitor digital channels, and establish firmer boundaries between royal operations and outside platforms. William's argument was direct. Ignoring sustained attacks could signal weakness. Tradition, patience, silence, composure had long defined the monarchy. But in a fast-moving digital age, silence can be misread. Camilla and Anne, both seasoned in surviving media storms, reportedly agreed that endurance alone was no longer enough. The mechanisms being used online, coordinated posts, monetized narratives, viral framing, required modern countermeasures. The goal was not retaliation, it was containment. The Sussex situation, already distant, would become more formally structured. Access would be limited, influence separated, lines clarified. Inside that quiet library, one conclusion seemed to settle over the room. This was no longer just about family tension. It was about protecting stability in an era where digital campaigns can escalate in hours. Whether the public would see restraint or resolve remains to be seen. But behind closed doors, strategy had replaced sentiment, and the monarchy was preparing to defend its ground. Their voices stayed calm but firm. One message kept repeating around that table. The source of the attacks had to be cut off completely. No half measures, no quiet tolerance. Any channel amplifying coordinated harassment would face firm boundaries. King Charles, measured as always, reviewed the recommendations and formally approved the strategy. With that signature, discussion shifted into execution. The approach was framed not as retaliation, but as institutional protection. The priority was clear: safeguard Catherine and stabilize the crown. The senior royals left that meeting aligned. For once, there were no mixed signals, no internal hesitation. The dossier had pushed them into unified action. The Sussex relationship, already distant, would now operate under stricter limits. Access reduced, boundaries reinforced. But how effective would it be? By early afternoon, shifts were already noticeable. Several U.S. media appearances tied to defending or expanding Meghan's public narrative were reportedly postponed. Producers grew cautious amid the palace's firmer legal tone. No dramatic announcements, just quiet recalibration. Commercially, some partnerships entered review phases. Brands tend to avoid proximity to conflict, especially when institutions are involved. Industry circles began weighing risk versus reward. The tone around Meghan's influence subtly changed. Not erased, but complicated.
Mental health is best supported and all those around children and raising the next generation today.
Public conversation evolved too. Prince William, often described as reserved, began appearing in commentary as something else. Protective, decisive, steady under pressure. The narrative moved from palace tension to personal loyalty. For many observers, he wasn't acting as a rival figure. He was acting as a husband first. 3 days later, William and Catherine attended a low-key engagement. It wasn't grand. It wasn't theatrical. It was intentional. Body language experts quickly filled columns analyzing his posture, his proximity, the subtle positioning that suggested attentiveness. No speeches addressed controversy. The message came through presence alone. Back at home, normal rhythms resumed. Family time, garden walks, children playing freely. Insiders described the atmosphere as lighter, less tense than the weeks before. Whatever external storms had swirled, the internal focus had narrowed to protection and stability. The so-called Norfolk strategy became less about headlines and more about values. It signaled that in a digital era where narratives spread instantly, the monarchy would no longer rely solely on silence. It would combine restraint with readiness. Supporters saw strength, critics saw escalation. But one thing was undeniable: the situation had shifted. William's actions didn't just aim to block coordinated online activity, they reframed his role publicly. He appeared less like a distant future monarch and more like a present, engaged protector. In modern media culture, that image carries weight. As for Meghan's future, influence rarely disappears overnight. It evolves, rebrands, adjusts. Whether this moment becomes a setback or simply another chapter will depend on strategy, public sentiment, and time. What remains clear is this: the monarchy signaled it would defend its own with structure, not spectacle. And in today's world, that alone sends a powerful message.